Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Swahili Sunday. If you are listening after the fact, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Today, I wanted to share a little bit about some updates that we have going on in Kenya and things that we're going to be doing. I have a trip I'm planning for the end of May, beginning of June, and what we're planning on doing there, and how you can help and support and some of those things that we're doing. I also wanted to share a little bit about fair trade. I always like to, every so often, talk about fair trade because there may be people who are listening that don't really completely understand what fair trade is, or maybe you know and you're still looking for ways to incorporate fair trade into your life. So I wanted to show you. I started thinking about, okay, let me see what I do in my daily routine or in the morning that actually incorporates fair trade. And I think since I'm so involved in, a verified member of the Fair Trade Federation, Baskets and Beats Kenya is, and I have space in a fair trade store, so I'm always supporting other fair trade partners in that store with things, purchasing things that I don't have or that don't come from Kenya. So instead of going and maybe buying something else, I support a fair trade brand and support getting fair trade type items. So I started to think about, okay, what does that even mean? So I'm going to read you the definition of fair trade from the Fair Trade Federation website, so you can go to fairtradefederation.org and find out more about fair trade. We also have info on our website at Fair Trade Long Beach at Baskets and Beads Kenya, and I'm adding more info as I go along. So the basic definition is fair trade is an approach to business and to development based on dialogue, transparency, and respect that seeks to create greater equity in the international trading system. Fair trade business partner and farmers, because fair trade also represents not only products but also things that are grown and produced, and craftspeople. Fair trade business partner and farmer with farmers and craftspeople in developing countries who are socially and economically marginalized and are finding markets and customers for their goods. So basically, fair trade is partnering with those artisans that wouldn't otherwise, or producers that wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity, and giving them an opportunity to earn a sustainable living wage and to ensure things like child labor, slave labor, uh, are not, in essence, are not happening in the fair trade world. And also things such as there's accountability, there's great relationships. We have our director in Kenya, Layla, who has been on here many times, is the conduit between me and the ladies, because most of them don't have a way to communicate. So she communicates with Dorcas, our leader in the Kipsongo slum. And then I also have a couple other producers I work with. One, our artisan group, makes the soapstone products, which we still have the sale going on through, I think I'm going to do that through the end of the month because I have a new shipment coming. So the large soapstone bowls are half price. We're moving our stock out of those, and those are actually selling. So we have some left, but the quantity keeps reducing because people keep buying them mainly out of the Fair Trade store at Fair Trade Long Beach. So you can see them there or on the website. But and then there's another producer. Her name's Bintia. She has her organization, Stitches and Beads. She works with our street kids that we sponsor, a couple of street kids, and then we do also have some in of the ladies' children that we sponsor for school fees and things like that. But Bintia makes skirts, which you can see in Fairtrade Long Beach. I don't have those in the online store. She makes some of the necklaces. We have earrings, actually most of the earrings, most of the beaded earrings, the teardrop earrings, not the fabric, but the teardrop beaded earrings were made by Bintia. And she makes the clutch purses and some of the other products we have. So we have several people that we work with. Our primary focus is the large group of ladies in Kipsongo, but we also do support others. But all of that isn't, it's not like I can use everything. I mean, I always wear jewelry. I'm not wearing any today because I'm wearing this. I want to talk about this in a little bit. I can't get everything I need from them fair trade wise. So I have other things, other products that I get from other fair trade companies or businesses that, uh, or stores that I use for my life products like this. I'm in a robe right now. I'm relaxing. I'm ready for the day, but I've been up for 3 hours since like 6 a.m. because little crazy paws had to go out and go to the bathroom. But I just wanted to it's Sunday. I wanted to stay in my robe and have my tea. So this robe came from Tiger Lotus. Tiger Lotus is a fair trade store down in the San Clemente area but she's also on you can find her on Instagram as well, Tiger spelled Tyger Lotus. And this is a velveteen robe, and when she put it up there on her Instagram, I was like, "Oh, I just my robe is about to shred." So I one thing I do, I'm not a minimalist per se, but I work on not buying something I don't need. And I didn't really need a robe for a while, but I have a robe that the fabric is just so frayed. It's getting holes in it, and I it's coming apart. So I need another one because that one's really it's about done. I've had it since 2002, and it's lasted me a long time. But the fabric is just very thin and it's done. So I saw this and I was like, "Oh, I want this robe." So this is a fair trade product and I'm wearing this. And then on my feet, you can't see it, but I have some Fazzle socks and I have some of those in my space at Fair Trade Long Beach. They're my around the house socks. They're handmade and by women in the Himalayas, and they're just so comfortable. So I have worn them with, like, my hiking boots or whatever, but I like to wear them around the house to keep my feet warm. So I have, bamboo f wood whatever, bamboo floors, and it gets kinda cold at times. So that's what I'm wearing, and then I'm also drinking now, Kenya is the number 3 exporter of tea in the world behind India and Sri Lanka. And this is a tea from a Fair Trade Federation member called Just Tea, and this is one of my favorites. It's herbal, and it's little berry hibiscus. Oops, little berry hibiscus. So this tea comes from Kenya, and the company is out of Canada, and it's loose leaf tea, and it's one of my favorites. So I'm sipping on some Kenya tea. So that's a fair trade thing. I do have a lot of other teas, but there are several fair trade teas that I get. This is one of my favorites. So this brand also has all types of herbal teas. There's one that's really great for iced tea that I use. So that's another fair trade item that's worked into my routine. Now this is Soap Co, and you can't really see it because it's all used up. I used it up today. This is a body scrub and this one was I think this one was it's a sugar scrub, but I think I can't see what I think it was citrus. Citrus is one of my favorites that she makes. She's local to Long Beach, but she has a space in Fairtrade Long Beach. And it's got the little spoon in there, so I'm going to recycle this. But it's a scrub, but when you use it, it makes your skin soft, so you really can get away with not having to use any moisturizer. But she makes those too, and she makes candles and soaps. She has a little space in Fairtrade Long Beach. I don't know if she has a website, but it's Soap Co. You can find her on Instagram as well. So that's a local fair trade. So at Fairtrade Long Beach, we are local and global, and this is all handmade by her. She makes them in her home. She makes the soaps and candles, and she has a couple other products. So that's something that I don't use it every day because I do also have Mary Kay products that I used. I was a Mary I'm still a Mary Kay consultant for personal use, but I use a lot of Mary Kay products. Those are made in the USA, and I I've used Mary Kay since I was, I guess, 19 or something, which has been a year or two. Another fair trade. Now, you've heard me talk about the chocolate industry. Lily's is a fair trade chocolate. Now, if you're thinking of, okay, what can I do to participate in fair trade? Uh, you can't possibly change everything, and you can't get everything in your house fair trade, because there are some things that just are not, maybe not yet made by fair trade vendors, or the some of the things that you have to get, like, okay, obviously this is an iPad. That's not a fair trade vendor. And I'm gonna, an aside anyway, but I'll squirrel over there in a minute. But if you want to start with something, start with chocolate, because the chocolate industry, all the big chocolate manufacturers are people who are using child labor. They're stealing children from their homes and forcing them to pick the products used to make chocolate in the Ivory Coast. And you can Google chocolate slave labor, and can see the article that the Washington Post did. I also have it. I've talked about it several times in my blog, so you can probably find it at basketsandbeadskenya.com in the blog as well. And so start with chocolate. Okay, maybe you don't eat chocolate. Drink some tea. Use it, fair trade tea. You can see, for instance, let's see where the so oops, there's the fair trade logo, which will be on the product. So you can find a fair trade logo, or there's some other, like this one. They're a member of the Fair Trade Federation. So the Fair Trade Federation logo, whoops, is on the product right there. I haven't put it on my hang tags yet, because I have old hang tags that I'm using up, and once those are used, I'm going to get new ones and uh, do the form to get permission to use the Fair Trade Federation logo on my products. But that's a way to tell whether or not it's fair trade, and you can use something fair trade in your life. And maybe it's not fair trade certified, Fair Trade Federation verified, but it is made by a local person. So that's another way. You can go to a lot of shows, like craft shows or events. Next weekend, if you're in the Torrance area, there's a big quilter. The South Bay Quilters Guild is having, I guess, after 2 years with being not able to do that from COVID, they are having a very large quilting show, and I have been invited. Excuse me. I think I need a sip of tea. They have invited me to have a booth at the quilting show, and I'm praying that it comes in time. I've got 3 pieces of beautiful fabric coming from Kenya, along with some other baskets and things. So I'm hoping and praying that it gets here in time for the show. And I've also got some really cool soapstone hearts coming also this week, and I'm praying that gets here in time for Valentine's Day. Had them make some hearts, little hearts, flat hearts with magnets that have words on them, encouraging words, and then little, I call them bubble hearts. They're cute little mini hearts, and they're painted really pretty colors. And we have some other products coming too, but they're not done yet. They're making new bowls that you can actually eat out of. That's the reason that we're selling the bowls we have, and we're moving those out, because you can't eat out of those. You could put dry goods in them and just wipe them out, but because it's not treated, soapstone is not like ceramic. So ceramic gets fired in a kiln and it has that glaze over it and you can wash it. Well, soapstone is just painted, and we were looking for a way to make it so people could eat food out of them, and they found a way by applying beeswax and leaving the inside the natural occurring soapstone without treating it or painting it a color. The paint will be on the outside. So we're getting small, medium, and like really big bowls. And then I'm getting some plates and things to test out. And then we're getting spoon rests and some more soapstone animals and some of the larger hearts. But because of Valentine's Day coming up, I wanted to get the smaller hearts out and get those shipped out in a hurry. So those should be picked up in Nairobi, or one of them's in Nairobi, the other one's in Kisii. Should be picked up tomorrow, and it usually takes 3 days to get here, so I should get it by Thursday or Friday. So it'll be just in time for this big quilting show, and also be able to put the magnets up in Fairtrade Long Beach. So that's those are some things that are happening, but uh, I just wanted to share a little bit about that. If you're local to Torrance, California, it's in the Civic Center. It's all day, Saturday and Sunday. And I think it's 10 to 4, I think. If you look up South Bay Quilters Guild, you can find it. So this is not necessarily a fair trade product, but I'm not really sure how this happened. This is the toothpaste I get from, oh, I know how it happened. This is the toothpaste that I get from Whole Foods. It's Jason, which is my son's name, but it's a good toothpaste that doesn't have a lot of preservatives in it. But you can see that the end here is kind of chewed up, and then the cap is kind of destroyed. Well, I made the mistake of leaving my bedroom door open and closing the door where the shower is. This sits on my vanity area that has a sink. And I guess Indigo didn't like it when I closed her out. So she decided she was going to take this and teach me a lesson. Yeah, Maligator. That's why they're called Maligators. Um, Another fair trade product. This was from another fair trade vendor. We don't make embroidered type things. And I liked this because it was a bag that you could sling over your shoulder. I might see actually if we can make some of these out of fabric uh, in Kenya because this is a fair trade bag and I got it because you can sling it this way and carry it this way, so it makes it harder for people to pick your pocket because it's right up against you wherever you have it. So that's another fair trade item that I've incorporated into my life. So those are just a few things. I look around, I see other things. I have some clothing items. There's a fair trade t-shirt company that whenever we sell out of the t-shirts that we have, I'll get some more made from them. Um, but I did make sure that the brands of t-shirts I got had a fair trade type of practice. They may not be fair trade verified or fair trade federation members, but they do have on their website their global responsibility and how they make sure that everybody in the supply chain is getting paid a fair wage. And same thing when there's a brownie that I will send out sometimes as a thank you to a customer or somebody who's helped me out in my business some way. And it's called fairy tale brownies, and I had to ask them, because I had used them before I got involved in fair trade when I was doing speaking. I would send the brownies to people who booked me to speak or whatever, and as a thank you. And I didn't know it doesn't say on their website, so I asked them, "Where do you get your chocolate from?" And they sent me some information that showed that the farmers where they get their chocolate from, how children are not involved in the labor process, and how they are actually using some of the funds to make sure that children go to school. So I have to do that kind of thing. I have to pay more attention to that now because I'm a fair trade business. So those are just some things about fair trade. There is one other thing I wanted to mention that I posted a post about this because a lot of times people ask me, "Oh, so you send all the money back to the people after you sell it?" No, we don't use a give back model, and that wouldn't keep me in business anyway. You can't like, if I sell something for $20, I can't possibly send the whole $20 to them if I did it that way, because I would never how would I pay for shipping? How am I gonna have the things to cover the cost for the rental of the space and the website and all that stuff? We don't send anything back. We don't use a give back model. What we find out what they want to get paid and make sure that the price that they're charging is fair both ways, because sometimes artisans will attempt to overcharge or maybe they'll undercharge, so we want to make sure that they are earning enough that cover their costs and that they'll make a profit, and then I'll be able to sell it at a price that covers my costs and still make a profit because I take the profits and reinvest it back and buy more product. That's the way we've always done it. I buy things up front. There's some things now that I'm not going to pay until I put my eyes on it because we've had so many errors and I that ends up costing money. So, but it gets shipped right away. It gets here in 3 days. I can check it, do a quality control. We're working on how to better do that, and then they get paid. They get paid right away. So it's not like they have to wait till I sell anything. If that was the case, that that would never work because some things I've had that I brought back initially that haven't sold. Like I have a necklace that I've had for like 2 years. It's on my website. It's beautiful. It's a green, iridescent green, like several beads necklace, and it hasn't sold. Now, if that artisan was waiting for me to sell that to pay her, she'd still be waiting and she wouldn't get paid for it. So that's not a good model. If you want to see more about that, this is the blog post, whoops, on the Baskets and Beads website. It says, "How much do you, quote, give back, end quote, to the artisans you work with?" And this explains why we don't do a give back model, that why we pay for everything up front and then resell, and why we don't. Somebody who doesn't understand business doesn't understand that you can't possibly give the whole amount back that you sell something for. That you have to be able to allow to increase the price from wholesale to retail in order to cover your costs. Otherwise, you'd never make it in business. So I sometimes people like when I ran ads, people were making nasty comments. Oh, they're taking advantage of these people. They don't give it all back to them and blah blah blah. I mean, that's just unrealistic, especially somebody who doesn't run a business. I had somebody who actually had a business on Etsy made some nasty comment, and I kind of tracked her down, and I'm like, okay, would you like me to connect you with the women so you can verify? And obviously, she didn't want to verify that your what you're saying is not true, and I probably shouldn't do that, but it just annoys me so much that people can just say anything. I kept deleting this one woman's comment. "You still haven't answered it. How much do they get paid?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna answer that here. You wanna have a conversation about that? I'll have a conversation with you." So that's why with a lot of those nasty comments, in case anybody wonders, that's right here. Oops. It's just very it's glared. It's on the website. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to send me a message or email me at eldonna@basketsandbeadskenya.com. Very transparent about how we do business. We do business to make sure everybody wins. So speaking of that, right now, unfortunately, the ladies are still struggling. So I'm sending funds for food packs for this month. We're trying to help them get back on their feet as things are starting to open back up. It just has not reached a point where they're able to be get to sustainability yet. I'm working on placing more orders and getting being able to place regular orders, getting more wholesale orders so we can get more things from them and expand that reach and expand their profitability and expand their sustainability. Now, so I'm heading to Kenya. The plan now is May 26th to June 11th. And uh, I'm not necessarily planning a trip for anybody to join me, but several people have always asked about coming. So if you're interested, you can send me a private message. You can email me at eldonna@basketsandbeadskenya.com. I'll tell you the details. You would kind of come along for the ride, basically. And I'm not going to take a lot of people. I'm not taking it as a big trip, but a few people. If you want to come, you can send me a message and we can talk about that. But in saying that, and I was attempting to start start a fundraiser on a new platform because of all the things that just happened with GoFundMe and whatever was happening, they were going to take some they decided that this one organization didn't comply with their standards or whatever. And so, their first thing was that we're gonna take the money back, and I don't think that that's right. So, um, I'm trying to set up a thing on a site called Give, Send, Go, and it seems like their site, I think a lot of people are transferring over there. I've deleted my GoFundMe account, so as soon as I can get it set up on Give, Send, Go, I'm going to start posting it. I'm raising $15,000, and what are we going to use that for? A little bit of it's going to cover my costs. I usually take it out of my salary, but if I can cover my costs as well, airfare has gone way, way up, like way up, and I need some help with that. And, when I say my salary, my corporate job salary, because really my corporate job has been covering the business expenses while we've been attempting to rebuild, or working on rebuilding since COVID. So, since all the shutdowns and everything and the business went down, my sales haven't been great the last 2 years. I haven't had much speaking, and I haven't had obviously a lot of sales with baskets and beads. My Facebook ads account got hacked. Somebody took over my page, so I'm working on getting all that recovered and back together. Now, because of all that, Instagram won't let me have a store on Instagram, and I've had to file an appeal there and all this. So all that nonsense is going on. So I can't run any ads and get any eyes on the Facebook stuff or eyes to the website through Facebook. So um, that's been a little bit of struggle. But the main part of the funds that we're going to use, one of the things we're going to do is do a conference, and we need the funding. And what is that? We're going to do a conference where the ladies go to another group of ladies who have not formed a community yet and share their experience about forming a community, how pulling together has helped them to be able to support each other, and how it's built their faith, and how it's uh, helped them survive through so much, because a lot of these different villages, the women are all scattered and they don't come together in community. So the ladies are going to share. I'll share something at the beginning, but this is going to be their conference. And we have a plan where we're going to have some panels of ladies share their story and about how the community, how building community and connecting has helped them be able to get through even the tough times of COVID, and then share with the ladies of how they can build community. Though we're going to break up into groups, like one of our ladies with one or two of the ladies where we're going, and so we need funds to help with transportation, getting up there, with food and such. So we'll take some supplies to give to the group, and then also uh, meals that we'll have lunch or whatever, so things like that cover those kind of costs of the conference. But then the big thing I'm raising the money for is to take the ladies on a retreat. And there, so the coast, Kenya's a beautiful country. They have the most beautiful sparkly sandy beaches, and kind of an aqua color water there on the coast, and it's very peaceful and calm and nice, and I think these women deserve it. They've never had anything like that, and they actually think it's not going to happen because it just seems like such a big leap for them to be able to do anything like that. So it's something that we are planning on doing and taking the ladies. It's called Mombasa, the coast area. We're looking for accommodation now, and it's we have over 30 women, and they won't bring their children unless they're babies, like that they're nursing or whatever. So it'll be just them, time for them to even connect on a deeper level. Maybe we'll do a conference there as well for a group of women. We could probably do that as well, but it's just a time for them to have an enjoyable time amongst their their friends and their colleagues. They've been working together. They've been working so hard. I think that they deserve it. And maybe it might seem frivolous to somebody, but when you think about it, we do that here in the US all the time, especially, oh, women's retreat, let's go. Okay, church is having a women's retreat, I'm going to go. Or this group is having a women's retreat, I'm going to go. Oh, I'm going to go to a women's tea, I'm going to go to a women's networking event, whatever. I'm going to go away and go to this conference. We we don't bat an eye to doing that, but they don't get the opportunity to even leave the slum, or if they do, they go into town and they're because they're from a different tribe, they're looked down on. I want them to have an opportunity to just have that enjoyment, and it'll take bus transportation, train transportation, accommodation, and any activities that we do, and I want to give that to them. I've been working with them since 2018. We've seen a lot going through COVID. So I'll be starting that fundraiser soon. What I need from you, obviously, I would love for you to donate, but if you're part of a church, a Rotary, a group that does donations, I'd love to come and speak to your group. online, whatever. Especially Rotaries. Rotaries usually have a budget to help with things like this, and or church organizations sometimes will give to a mission trip type of thing. So I'm looking to raise $15,000 and bless these ladies with an experience that will just fill their heart and give them some respite and some time to have some peace, amani, which is peace in Swahili. So that's about it for today. That's all I wanted to share. The fundraiser will be coming soon. It'll be coming out on the newsletter. One thing I will add, that if you're not on my newsletter list, please go to basketsandbeadskenya.com. A little pop-up will show up. You can get a 10% coupon. If you don't want to buy anything, that's fine, but you'll get in the email list, because with what happened with my Facebook page and my ad account, I almost had to delete the Facebook page altogether. And the ad account, I thought I wasn't going to get it back. They actually charged $600 against my uh, credit card, which I had to cancel the credit card, and I had to sip my tea. I had to cancel the credit card and get a new one. And so I'm having to start over with all of that. But the thing is, that could all go away in an instant, but if we're connected on email, you won't miss anything, and I don't email a lot. I usually send out a story once a week and a newsletter once a month. So you're not going to get bombarded with a bunch of emails unless we're having a big sale or something around the holidays, but then that would just be a couple emails saying, "Oh, hey, we have a sale. Hey, just in case." But we just keep you updated and share stories of the ladies and things going on in Kenya and things that we're doing here in the US to move things forward. So I'd really appreciate it if you don't want to do the pop-up thing, just send me an email, donna@basketsandbeadskenya.com, with your email address, and I'll add you to the newsletter list. All right, everybody, that is it for today. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to sip my Kenya tea and sit here in my robe for a little bit. Dog trainer's coming a little later, so I have a little bit of time to just relax and enjoy my Sunday. I hope that you enjoy it too. I need to watch church online because I have not been going back to service yet. I've been still doing it online and want to see what Pastor Rick has to say. So grateful for all of you. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Nakupenda.